Woohoo! Hello, my name is Laura Russell, and I'm the founder and CEO of Cohability, a roommate matchmaking platform here to help people live better together. There are a few relationships in our lives that can really define us, and when you think of them, the first two that probably come to mind are romantic and family. But one that's often overlooked is the one you have with your housemate. In North America, 70% of millennials co rent their housing, and with the pandemic, are spending more time at home. That means that this relationship matters now more than what it ever has. We have solutions for finding romantic relationships, and unfortunately, with family, you don't really get a choice. But where's the solution for finding a compatible person to live with? Where's the eHarmony for roommates? Ta-da! That's me. That's us. That's what we do. With our platform, you input your desires and lifestyle, and then our proprietary algorithm gives you a percentage match to other users. We've partnered with St. Mary's University and MyTax to research what factors really matter when cohabitating with somebody and the effect that this relationship can have on your mental health and student success. The people suffering the most housing pain tend to be younger and lower income groups across our country. Last year, Halifax, Nova Scotia saw vacancy rates from 1% to negative 1%. People are renting out their living rooms during a global pandemic because of the housing affordability crisis. This just in. In housing hotspots across Canada like Vancouver, Toronto, and Halifax, 56% of people say that housing in their city is unreasonably high or unaffordable. The majority of North Americans aged 20 to 35 co-rent their housing because they can't afford to live otherwise. Finding roommates is hard enough, but finding compatible ones is no. It's there's not even a process because it's based on guesswork and just causes anxiety and stress. I can tell you from personal experience how much a negative living situation can impact one's overall well being, and that's why cohabitability focuses on people's compatibility. According to Housemonk, the global co living market reached just shy of $8 billion in 2020. There's 151 million North Americans who co rent their housing. With leases lasting an average of a year and a half, that's over 100 million potential users annually. If we could capture just 6% of this market share, you got it. That would be over 6 million annual users. Coability is changing the way people search for roommates and housing. We're positioning ourselves as roommate matchmakers. While our competition attempts to differentiate on things like being free or offering room listings, we're focusing on our algorithm and improving the quality of our results. With this customer centric positioning and research solving a real world problem, I expect to become a dominant player in the market. With Coability, it's free to create your profile, set your preferences, and even browse for roommates. You only pay when you want to unlock a suite of features, including in app purchases such as unlimited swipes or greater profile visibility. Coability will make use of a diversified revenue model where we're going to offer freemium, premium, a la carte pricing, as well as capturing some advertising revenue. For customer trials, we'll use the freemium model to gain traction as we grow to market, targeting students and young professionals. This approach will allow us to scale quickly and achieve critical mass so that we can start generating revenue as quickly as possible. By using an a la carte pricing system, just like online dating sites, we'll be able to allow our customers to build a product package at a price that they're comfortable with for what they want. Initially, the revenue model will focus on the B2C side of things and be a mixture of in app membership tiers, a la carte purchases, and advertising revenue. An a la carte pricing system allows the customer to purchase only what they want, increasing customer satisfaction and allowing Coability to really experiment with what the customers want so we can stay ahead of our competition. We've had discussions with a couple of universities and colleges on how Coability can be implemented as an off campus housing resource for their students. Due to the pandemic, however, these conversations have been temporarily placed on hold as most campuses have gone to virtual learning and significantly decreased the students on campus. We'll use the familiar customer funnel and sales pipeline with some minor tweaks, as we will rely heavily on referrals and social media, in addition to search engine optimization and direct advertising to get the attention of our customers.
So, who am I? I grew up in rural Nova Scotia and I was the youngest of three children. My father was an entrepreneur, and I remember the family being very crafty and innovative. Us country folk have complex issues but limited resources that we have to work with. When asked the common question, what do you want to be when you grow up, I could never convey my dream. Other students would say a veterinarian, a firefighter, or a teacher, but all I could say is I want to help people. I was recognized at a very young age for conveying strong leadership qualities. That took me really far in life. I excelled academically and in extracurriculars, particularly sport.
Story time. So after graduating university, I moved to Edmonton. I had plans to be with somebody who was in the airborne infantry out there. And unfortunately, he had a parachuting accident and suffered a severe brain injury and didn't remember who I was. I still moved out, thinking if I was closer, he'd remember. But the issue was I found myself in a city of 4 million people, and the only person I knew didn't remember me. So I was at a loss for what to do for roommates. The person from school that I moved out there with only lasted 7 months. I was lucky enough that they finished paying out their part of the lease. My next best option was to live with a coworker and her boyfriend, and that was a terrible decision because they had a toxic relationship and fought all the time, and I was always caught in the middle. How did you know if living with a stranger is going to be better than the situation that you're already in? Like, at least I knew these people. Wasn't really happy, but I was confident that they weren't going to kill me in my sleep. I knew I was going to need a lot of help to realize my dream. So in spring of 2019, I applied and was accepted to Propel ICT, an accelerator here in Atlantic Canada. After that, in the summer, I went into Launchpad DAO, where I was actually awarded $10,000 in non-dilutive funds. After Launchpad, I still felt like I needed to know more, so I leveraged the funds to return to school at St. Mary's and take my Master's of Technology, Entrepreneurship, and Innovation. I work directly with my university's Entrepreneurship Center, in addition to Atlantic Canada's foremost venture capital professor. I also have direct access to the Dean of Science through my MyTax research project, who happens to be a PhD in psychology.
When we tested the market about a year ago, we got over 80 pre-signups, mainly from people scattered across the United States. Since launching our MVP last October, we have over 90 active users on the site, and that's during a global pandemic. Thanks to Enactus, we were featured on Global News Halifax, so we expect to see our exposure across the nation and our user base grow. We've also partnered with Knowledge for Students, which is the first student-run podcast brand to help postgraduate students navigate uni life. Current projections have us making over $10,000 in revenue by the end of the year while still in customer trial.
Now I know what I wanted to be, an entrepreneur.